Good evening, everyone. I'm Deepthi, and I welcome you all from the Great Indian Film Festival. They say to make an effective start, you must start right. Well, so let us start with positivity. Now, the pandemic may be wreaking havoc once again in the country, but I hope all of you in Mumbai and the rest of the country are being home, staying safe, and especially Mumbai not losing heart because of the lockdown, because we look forward to a lot more promising, positive news and a lot of films from the city. Well, and sure enough, we are definitely better prepared to deal with the pandemic this time around. Well, on that note, let me start by introducing you all to the Great Indian Film Festival, or TGIFF as it is popularly known as. TGIFF, the brainchild of producer, creator of short films, mobile films and music videos, Vivek Paul, is a touring short film festival focusing on bringing different cultures of the world together through one medium, films. Well, TGIFF boasts of extending deserved appreciation to the short filmmakers, both professional and amateur, students and cinema aficionados, extending them an opportunity to be a part of a community of global filmmakers. Well then, who better than an award-winning entertainment journalist who is also a very vital member in the Indian film circuit to start a conversational series. Well, but before I bring him on, I must mention here that since the lockdown last March, he has conducted over 500 virtual interviews with celebrities, well, which definitely must be a world record for conducting the maximum amount of virtual interviews since the lockdown. Well, so let me bring him on and I'll let you know who he is. Well, and there he is, and I'm sure you all must have guessed. Please welcome Faridoon Shahryar. He needs no introduction, but he's a very familiar face on television and on social media these days. So welcome to TGIFF, Faridoon.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
And how are you doing? How's the lockdown treating you?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. I think the lockdown has been very challenging for a lot of people, and I'm no different. But somehow I would say that it has been a great learning experience, and so far so good.
Well, kudos to that. But let me tell you that I have watched almost all episodes of your show, and but today the tables have turned, and you're on the other side of the fence. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels wonderful. It's the Great Indian Film Festival. I think it's such a wonderful platform that Vivek has created, and I'm sure that it's going to go from strength to strength. It feels wonderful.
Sure. So now to begin with, I believe that since all success stories must need sharing, so I want to begin by asking you how your journey has been so far. I mean, you have been a prominent, name, through your show. You've hosted Bollywood celebrities. So where did it all begin? How did you get to being, to getting into the field that you're in?
I've done a course in journalism from Times of India. I'm a trained journalist, and I've written a lot in a lot of newspapers and publications. And so I think almost 15 years back, I was working in a website, and they were very keen on video content. So I'm a trained print journalist. So video is something that I'd never thought of. So reluctantly, I started doing video content, and people had not heard about videos on internet at that point of time. So, and then I was noticed by Bollywood Hungama, where I'm working for the last 14 years, and they wanted me to head their videos division, and I joined it, and I've been there since then. And yeah, it has been a great learning experience. In the beginning, it used to take around half an hour for buffering a 5-minute video, because the internet connections was very limited. There was no YouTube at that point of time, so we had our own video player. So it was great learning experience, and thankfully for us, since the beginning itself, we we came up with certain interviews that started becoming discussed. They were discussed a lot. Like I did an interview with Vidhu Vinod Chopra, the producer and director. The film Eklavya had gone for Oscars. It was India's entry to Oscars, and I interviewed him. Now he's an interviewer's delight because he talks brilliantly. He's someone
Yes.
who hold anything back, and it makes for great copy. And
True.
so that interview was talked about really well because he spoke about quite a few film personalities, and then they reacted and they responded. So the moment you have some level of controversy, it always works. Even though it was not intentional, but it happened. So since then, there was curiosity, and it has been a huge learning experience. Initially, people were not very keen on websites because they felt that
Right.
channels and news channels, they are the ones that make a difference. So we've seen that struggle to make ourselves relevant, to keep on finding a place for ourselves, to keep on fighting for it. Um, so I've traveled quite a bit. I've traveled with a lot of teams, and I've covered shows, and that gave me an experience of covering on mobile journalism, what mobile journalism is all about.
Okay.
So that is something that today you see a lot of people doing
Yes.
on mobile. So, but I've been doing it since last 6 years, and that too I went to US and covered a Dream Team tour in 2016 in US and 6 cities in US. Everything on mobile, and even interviews on mobile and
Oh
selfie
wow.
interviews, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. That has been really interesting. So basically, I love challenges and I enjoy them, and new situations that give me an adrenaline rush, and I really enjoy it. So I'm just hungry for new experiences. So even the last 1 year since the lockdown, so we we understood that it's going to be there for some days. It's not mainly for 21 days. So we started
Right.
doing videos on WhatsApp call. His first one was with Anubhav Sinha. And then after that, we started doing more Skype calls, and then Instagram, the way we're doing Instagram Live right now, then Zoom calls and StreamYard. So we kept on experimenting. And it was tough initially because celebrities were not keen to talk because the pandemic was there and everyone was clueless. Everyone, because all the plans of almost everyone, they had been put on a halt. So that was a tough phase to just convince celebrities to do interviews. So that took a bit of time. Like when we started getting Sara Ali Khan and Kartik Aryan happened, and so the moment the big stars they started coming on the show, then the others followed, and then the various PR teams and marketing teams they came into this entire thing because movies and content was releasing on OTT. So it has been a great learning experience for the last 1 year as well. So yeah, I enjoy challenges.
Yes, and I
That's
think that clearly shows in all your episodes. I mean, the way you conduct. I think there's a lot of fun, and honestly, I enjoy all of them. But tell
thank
me,
you.
who has through all of this now? Who would you say has been your biggest inspiration?
In terms of celebrity.
It could be anyone. It could be anyone, from your family or celebrity or anyone who you feel that, you look up to, while you're working or while you're conducting these interviews.
I'll tell you something. Honestly, I've been extremely lucky to have met some really wonderful people during the course of these years, and I've learned a lot from them. Uh, I've learned from so many people. It's very difficult to pinpoint a few, like Mr. Bachchan's punctuality, Mr. Bachchan's entire passion for what he does. He's so excited about almost anything that he does. Amir is someone, I did a Skype interview with him almost 7 years back or something like that. So when he was shooting for Doom 3 in Chicago, maybe 7 years or whatever. And so it was midnight in India, and he was shooting for the film. He was in that attire as well. And he said one thing that has always stayed with me, that he said that whatever I do it with a complete focus. Like if I'm talking to you right now, my entire focus is on you, and I'm not thinking about anything else. And that's how I
Right.
function. And that is how you realize that so many successes that he has achieved, it has happened because he lives in the moment and he tries to do justice with that particular moment. And that's why everything takes care for himself, for him. and he has achieved all those success. So there are many people like Asha Bhosle ji, and she told me that she treats each song as a first song, and she has the same amount of nervousness and insecurity. So you should never take anything that you do for granted. So I treat each song, each interview that I do very, very seriously. I don't take it for granted. I try and do my research, and I make sure that even if I'm tired, there are days that I've done 4 or 5 interviews in a day, but I change my t-shirt in each interview, and I make sure that I'm looking fresh and I'm sounding fresh and I'm looking interested. So yeah, there are many people. It's very difficult to pinpoint just a few of them. There have been a lot of people that I've come across that have been hugely
Absolutely.
inspired.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. But you have interviewed celebrities, actors, producers, directors yourself. So what do you think is the one thing common in all of them as creators?
I don't know if there can be one thing which can be common, because everyone is different in their own way, and everyone is not in the same league either. There are different people who are doing different things. I try and not judge people. I try and not judge anyone whatsoever. So I don't judge a filmmaker by the sort of films that he's making. So I'm absolutely fine with commercial films, because I feel that in India, a lot of people they really enjoy commercial films. It's the only escape that they have, and I enjoy artistic films as well. And I really films which have message, I like them as well. It can be almost anything. So I try and look at people and various movies or whatsoever in terms of the context that they are in, and I try and treat them in that manner itself. So I don't expect a commercial filmmaker to uh, out and out commercial filmmaker to have something which is like a Nandita Das element in that, or maybe like
Of course. Yeah.
those
Yeah.
pauses or those certain nuances which are going to be there. So I'm not looking for it. So it's difficult to say, because I think different people, they have different commonalities and key points.
Right, I agree. But as they say, the most common thing in an artist is art. So I think that I mean, could be one. But yes, I agree. I mean, you can't compare one celebrity with the other. Now, coming to short films, you have been a judge at TGIFF last year. Now, as a viewer and as a judge, what do you seek in a short film when you see one?
So first of all, I don't look at any medium whatsoever in terms of that this is a short film, this is a feature film, this is a film meant for big screen, this is a film meant for OTT or television, or it's a television serial, or it's a web show. I just look at it in terms of the context of what they're trying to say. Either it is gripping or it's not gripping. Either it is interesting, or it moves you, or it doesn't move you. So those are the yardsticks that I'm having. But now what is happening in many cases is that people are having shorter time spans and shorter attention spans. So um, they do get attracted to a format that is short in duration, and still you can say quite a bit, and it can have a lasting impact. So I think one of the attractive features in short film is the precision, that you have less time and you have to say your story in that, and say it well, and say it in a certain manner that it occupies the attention on the mind space of a person. Because at the end of the day, almost anything, like it is all about the mind space, whether you are able to occupy someone's mind or you're not. So if you're not interesting and you're not able to occupy someone's mind, then that's bad news. So it's all about
Yes.
the interest factor.
True, and you feel that it's more challenging to make a short film because it is in a certain span of time, and you have to convey the essence of what you're trying to convey through in only in those few minutes that a short film usually is.
Yeah, of course, it is challenging. I think it's challenging to make almost anything that way. So even like a 30-second and film for that matter, it is challenging. Or like a music video can be challenging as well, but you can still. There's so many music videos that become so memorable, and because of the way they were narrated or the way the story was. So I think if you're competent and if you know your job, then duration is not a problem. You would know how to say your story, and the advantage may be that your budgets may be something that you can control, and that can be advantages because you know that it's not going to be releasing in a cinema hall. So there are certain platforms. Now that you have so many platforms which are available, be it OTT or even YouTube, for example, or even social media, so that are readily available. So I think it depends entirely. A professional would not worry about the duration.
Yeah. But coming to TGIFF, now TGIFF has showcased some amazing work in short films genre. I have watched a few as well, and honestly, I was spellbound by the talent that there is. Now, as a medium, do you think film festivals add value to the short film genre and extend, the desired validation that these films must receive?
The word that you use, I think that is the perfect way to describe it, and the word is validation. So I think any creative person looks for validation. Any creative person
Right.
looks for appreciation of some sort or the other. And uh, people are not merely working for money or how many people are watching it or the views and all those things. People are looking for appreciation. People are looking for a pat on the back, and people are looking for ways in which they can interact with fellow filmmakers or people who are from the industry who are going to be judging your films. So that is always a positive aspect. There's always a positive aspect like associated with that. So I told Vivek when he told me about the Great Indian Film Festival that this is a very good idea, and it's something that I think it's going to be um the future in many ways because we are at a precipice right now because of this lockdown, things have come out in the open. Certain things which may have taken maybe 3 4 years are now very imminent. That people have understood that there will be different platforms for different content. There will be an audience for films that can be watched in movie halls. Um, there will be films and web shows that will be watched on OTT platforms, and they'll be made for them. And the earlier practice of making a film, and when it was mandatory to release it in a cinema hall and then go for OTT. Now that's going to change. That has already changed. So there will be movies. There are movies that are being made with the specific idea of having an OTT release, and it works in terms of the commercials and everything. Similarly, short films, they will be finding an audience on OTT platforms, on social media, and they will have. They're already having a great reach. They will continue to have a very very good reach. So it's all about content now. So there is no hierarchy. Hopefully, there will be a hierarchy in the new system.
Yes. But the present times, have been challenging for cinema in general, considering the pandemic and the lockdown has struck again. But I feel it has also somewhere kind of encouraged newer ways, like you just mentioned, or, and mediums that are probably easier to operate with. Now people have mobile phones in their hands, and like you said, anything can be shot and, it can be effective enough. So do you think that this has led to the lockdown increasing the creativity of short filmmakers in a way? Because since creation is now becoming easier and more accessible, maybe.
I think people find a way. People, I think, will always find a way. And I think it is a sign of any intelligent person to find hope in the face of adversity. I think that is intelligence because there is no point in cribbing. There is no
Right.
point in doing nothing and just hoping for things to get better. There's no point in that. there are examples. There was Malayalam film See You Soon, Fahad Fasil's movie that was released last year, and it was made entirely on mobile phone, and that too in lockdown. And there is another show that came out on one of the OTT platforms that was made entirely like in by the actors from their homes, and then they were edited. Everything was edited together. So
Right.
people are already imagining various things. A lot of music videos have been shot by artists and actors from their homes itself. They've shot it on mobile phones and that sort of thing. So those things are already happening, and I think they will happen even more. Because like I have done around 500 interviews on my mobile phone.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
and
I
and
mentioned
you
in
can
my
see the
introduction, I think it should be
quality.
a kind of a world record, for
I don't
you.
know if it is a world record, but definitely it is a record of sorts for sure. And because our average is, I think, something like 1.5 interviews every day, including weekends. So, so mobile phones are something that people are using all the time, even for making content, even for movies now. So it is going to be the norm. It is all about, it is all about how you're telling your story. It is all about whether it is gripping for people or not.
Yes, and I think in a way it has, I think, given an impetus to, creators, content creators. It could be any kind
Absolutely.
of content to, kind of
Absolutely.
be there and make it viral and, get noticed. But, short films have been showcased through film festivals since a while now. But do you think that short filmmakers deserve better monetizing opportunities, through platforms?
I would say any creative person deserves better monetizing opportunities. Any creative person, because um, one needs to understand that many of there are a lot of people, say, within the film industry that all of us have met, who consider movies, for example, as project. For them, it is all about money. But there are many people who treat movies or visual arts as an art form. For them, that validation and that creative streak and that appreciation is something that they live for. So many a times artists, they don't know how to really manage themselves or manage their finances or the commercial aspects. So
Yes.
they definitely deserve support. They definitely deserve that understanding. Yes, that you are making something creative and it is worthwhile, and it is having that we can be the ones who can distribute it, maybe, and we can take it to the world, and uh, whatever whatever we earn out of it, we'll be sharing it with you. So those things definitely they are needed, and if people, we have seen it, like if people like something, they can go to any extent to watch it.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, that's true. And like you mentioned, OTT platforms, are the order of the day. So you see a lot of films probably that we might not have watched otherwise, that we are now getting a chance, to see them and appreciate them on these OTT platforms. Now, how do you perceive these platforms absorbing the short film content?
It's a great way of doing it, and I think um, increasingly there will be slots for short films on the OTT platform as well. I think it is going to happen. Because, even short film, that definition is changing now. So there is no time limit to it. Like when you
Right.
see an Instagram reel, for example. So there are so many celebrities who are making short films, films ही हैं एक तरीके से, in 30 seconds, and they are posting on their Instagram page, and it basically encompassing quite a few details, and it is so interesting. It is so absorbing. So this entire definition is definitely changing now, and I think there will be more and more platforms that will be supporting all forms of content, and definitely short film content with them.
Yes, absolutely. Because yeah, I think there's a surge of OTT platforms, there's so many of them and there is so much content, and I feel from my heart, because when I saw these short films being showcased at TGIFF about a couple of just before the lockdown, I just felt that these are the kind of movies I think that should be out there, that should be probably released in theaters as well.
No,
Because
absolutely. I totally agree with that.
yeah.
I totally agree with
Yes,
that.
and even going international for that matter, because Bittu, is a film that was shortlisted as an Oscar nomination. And even I think there was another film that was, I think, producer Guneet Monga's film, if I'm not mistaken. It was called Period, End of Sentence. That was that won an Oscar for best documentary, short subject. Now,
Yes,
how do
yes.
you gauge, the performance of Indian filmmakers in the international film festivals?
Like you're saying about the short story ones or anyone?
Specifically short story ones, because these were movies that were made for the short film categories, and one of them won as well. So do you think it's coming of age for short films, or documentaries on an international platform?
No, definitely. I think some wonderful documentaries have been made in India, and even short films. I think that they're doing very well. And say once again, if we talk about the OTT platforms, so this entire format of, like, say for example, Lust Stories, four short films in a way, and they have been watched all across the world. So I remember I was in Toronto, and someone told me that we've seen Lust Stories, and it's really a very fine concept uh, that is there. So, and there have been more such examples recently. There was an equivalent of the stories in South Indian languages. That was
Yes,
where Shruti Hassan and Amla Paul and these people, they were part of it, and that was received very well as well. So I think increasingly this format is gaining a lot of currency, and people are taking a lot of interest, and senior actors, they are participating in it, and they're accepting it with open arms. So yeah, I'm sure it's going to go from strength to strength for sure.
yes. So, but what is your point of view, on the advent of mobile cinema? Like you mentioned, it's really, I think there is a surge, of mobile content. TikTok and Snapshot, of course, have played a major part in bringing about the mobile content. Now, it's of course it's the power is in the hands of the creators now, I feel, and it's a great thing to happen. Honestly, I think it's a revolution of sorts. Now, effective content is also being created through, of course, through phones and these other platforms. The people have been using. It's empowering to a certain degree for anyone. It could be, it does, I mean, the person doesn't have to be a filmmaker. It could be just somebody creative. What is your take on this genre?
No, definitely. So mobile is something. Now, interestingly, maximum content that is consumed on as far as the OTT platform is concerned, it is
Yes,
done on mobile phones.
true.
People use their mobile phones for consuming it. There are very few people who are watching it on big plasma TVs or television otherwise, or like say laptops. Most of the people, they're consuming it on their mobile phones. And as far as making of these content is concerned, so I think this entire concept of shooting videos or pictures on DSLRs or regular cameras, I think that has gone completely obsolete. People are clicking pictures and making videos primarily on mobile phones. And
Correct.
same with all the travel videos that they're doing, all the vacations that they're part of, even the commercials that they're endorsements that they're doing for, say for example, for Instagram or as an influencer,
Correct. Right.
shooting it on mobile phones. So, and those are like in a way short films as well. And as I mentioned about the Instagram reel, or like say Twitter fleet, for example, or Insta stories and all those. So even those are like many a times like a 15-second video can be far more engaging than like a long video, and it can
Uh,
still communicate the entire. So I think mobile is definitely playing a huge part, and it'll definitely be doing it for at least some more time to come for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So, Faridoon, thank you for sharing all of that with us. But I'm not going to let you go just yet. I'm sure you'll agree with me, that this is probably the most fun part of a conversation. That is, I'm going to throw some rapid fire questions at you.
Sure.
So, okay. Your worst interview and who has it been with?
I would not say worst interview. I don't know
Okay,
because
most
I think
challenging probably, and who was it with?
I can say maybe most challenging and in a way funniest. I think it has to be with Rakhi Sawant that happened I think a couple of years back, and that went viral and how like it's got more than like 50 million views, and which is crazy. Maybe 50 million is something that I'm saying maybe on YouTube on our platform, but it got crazy response on Facebook and Instagram, and the number of short clips that were made of it on that are there on social media platforms like say on TikTok and Instagram and otherwise. Even now, someone or the other keeps on sending me a clip from that video on WhatsApp, or it shows up in my Instagram. So, and it was challenging because it was a serious subject, and she was making a lot of these points, and I had to remain serious. And people could not fathom the fact that how can he not laugh? Why is he not laughing? We are finding it so funny, but why is he so serious? So, since the subject was serious, so I had to be serious. But when I look at it now, so I realize that it was tough in many ways. When I watched it later, it was I was laughing like anything.
Yes, I think you must share the secret. How do you remain serious? Because through all of your interviews, also I've seen like you just stoic and you're not really.
Not in all of them, not in all of them. So when I'm doing an interview with say the youngsters like Salia and Varun and Pariniti, a lot of these people like Jahnavi Kapoor or Sara Ali Khan. So I'm having a good time, and because basically one of the things that I've tried to do is that I don't try and get into the gossip journalism, which I think many times film journalism has been
Right, correct.
blamed for. So I avoid that. I've consciously tried to avoid that. But on the other side, I've made sure that if I'm avoiding certain things, so I have to make sure that I have to be entertaining. And my show has to be entertaining so that I can compensate by not having gossip, by having entertainment. So,
Right.
be it rapid fire, be the quizzes that we do, or like the 5 second challenge. So we try and make our interview as entertaining as it can, and it is very entertaining. Many of them, especially with the youngsters and the fun element. So there I'm laughing, but when it is a serious conversation, when you're talking about a serious subject, like for example when Sushant passed away, so you cannot
Yeah.
you cannot laugh because on social media even a short smile can be taken out of context and you can be trolled for that. So you have to be
Right.
conscious. So as I told you earlier, it is all about the context. If it is a serious context, you have to stay serious. If it is a fun, entertaining, you can have a good time. You should have a good time.
True. Okay, so next question. What has been the best thing you've heard about yourself and from whom?
Best thing I've heard about.
Best compliment that you've received and who was it from?
I would say that I'm extremely lucky that I've received quite a few, and I don't know if I can pinpoint any one of them, but
Maybe
I
from
think
any of the
Tamanna.
celebrities that you've been.
So I'll say one. So Tamanna, I interviewed Tamanna Wadi. I've interviewed her many times, but in the lockdown, while we were having this sort of conversation, and uh, and I'd done a one-on-one interview with her only like a 3 weeks back before the lockdown. So when we were doing the interview, so I asked her about certain South Indian films which I had not done before, and she was like that I've just talked to you and I was thinking that what different will you be asking, but you have asked completely new questions and different questions, and I think that is what makes you so different, that you do your research, and it's a pleasure talking to you and all that. So that was I think one of the things that I can think of as of now. So
Okay.
when
I
people
think I'll
notice
take
an intention, when people notice an intention, it's a good feeling.
yes. Yes, I think I'll take that back with me today. What is one new thing that you've learned during the lockdown?
One thing that I've learned,
Yes. Something new that you've learned?
so I've always been passionate about poetry and Urdu poetry, and so one thing that I've really been learning a lot is in the last 1 year because I'm getting relatively more time because otherwise we used to spend around 2-3 hours for traveling every day, and that has been listening to a lot of the great Indian poets and great Urdu poets and just listening to their thought process and from their interviews and from their various sessions that they've done. So that has been I think, one thing that has been a huge takeaway for me in the last 1 year.
And last but not the least, your message for TGIFF.
Yeah, all the best to Vivek and his entire team. I think they've been extremely passionate, and I hope that the event that they were planning to, I hope it happens soon. And I would say that just hang in there and retain the patience. You've been having patience for quite some time now. So have it for a few more weeks, and because this is something that is going to be there for a long, long time to come. So yeah, all the best. That's all I can tell them.
Thank you so much, Faridoon. It's been such a pleasure and honestly, maybe a little bit of a fan moment also for me. Now, with that, we come to the end of this very inspiring, insightful conversation. And well, I'm sure a lot of aspiring filmmakers must have taken a lot from you today.
Thank you. Thank you
And
very much.
well, for yes, it's honestly it's been very very entertaining also, and personally for me, I have taken a lot of tips from my conversation with you today, and I think all of you who are aspiring in the field of filmmaking, I think here's your big chance, and you have a lot to learn from Faridoon. And well, if you want your films to be showcased, you must follow TGIFF on Instagram and Facebook and submit your entries on www.tgiffestival.com. So here's wishing you all the best and wishing you all the best, Faridoon. Looking forward to
Thank you.
seeing more of your interviews, and which I continuously do. And well, all the best, and I hope you stay
Thank you.
safe
Thank you
and
very much.
stay well.
You stay safe
Thank you
as well.
so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.